I mean, for now, I just can tell you what is the position of the Parliament. We're creating a direct link between net zero and the STEP. So we take over the supply chain idea of the net zero proposal that opens up the availability to more technologies within these three criteria: net zero, digital, and bio. Secondly, I mean, let's be honest, more or less right now it is a discussion on how to use the structural funds. We would open the structural funds and a certain proportion of the structural funds, but that is to be discussed, to net zero projects. We would like to establish a kind of seal for STEP projects, which would be then defined by the net zero criteria. I think it's fairly substantial. I mean, we talk about roughly 50 billion euros left, which hadn't been spent on the structural funds, although we have to be very careful that this is really a discussion not about shoveling money out of the window which hadn't been spent on the structural funds so far. That is really related to a substantial boost for innovation, be it net zero, but also be it digital and be it the biotechnologies. So there is a direct link in coherence, like the supply chain, in definitions, what constitutes net zero technologies, and I think that will be a valuable contribution. Although I have to admit that the net zero, the ETS income would be, to some extent, a broader base, because the STEP negotiations most likely will be about a certain proportion of member states which have structural funds available, whereas the rest, from my point of view, might come back to the question of how to spend the ETS revenues. There will be also discussions, I mean, that's fairly technical, but I think on net zero, the EIC, so the European Investment Fund, is a reliable source for specifically startups, because we can go there from grant to loans to VC capital. So I think in practical terms, I see a direct correlation between the outcome of the net zero negotiations and the STEP, although we all have to admit that, I mean, the news from the MFF negotiations yesterday night were more than depressing. It seems to be that at the same week we are creating big ambitions about the next century CO2 emission reduction ambitions. On the other hand, on the MFF, we can't even agree on a minimum. So in a way, the STEP is a little bit the back door of the MFF negotiations, although I'm not very optimistic that we talk about fresh money. That is not going to come, but we are going to talk about the way we are going to allocate the existing resources or funds in the Union.
Thank you very much.